Okay, here's my fans in the stands, and you can see that there is kind of a diagonal row that occurs when you knit this. It's an 8-row repeat. You'll do it 11 times. So it's a big sample, and that's why it reminds me of fans in the stands because of how big Memorial Stadium is and the Bob Devaney as well. So the 8 rows are really simple. You'll maintain your 5-stitch edge here, and then they are just knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and then returning back. And on the back side, you will knit the knits and purl the purls for like the first and the second row. Then you're going to do a cable row, which I will demonstrate ways to do that cable. Then you do the same knit 2, purl 2, but it does offset, so you don't always start with 2 knits. You will do some alternating here. So it is important to pay attention to your pattern so that you don't get off on this. Once you get the rhythm of this, I found it really fun to knit. It's simple, and with the 2 cable rows that are in it, it makes it fun. Now let's look at how to do a 1-by-1 left cable. We're going to look at 4 different ways to do the 1-by-1 left cable. Your cable will always be done on the 2 knit stitches. I'm using a lighter color yarn as well as a larger sample to make it easier to see. So we'll start by doing our 5 stitches that we always do on our border. And then we come to our 2 stitches, and this first stitch you encounter is going to cross over. So that means in front. So first one I want to show you is how to use a cable needle. You would, if you like these traditional hook ones, you could use a double point, but if you're not comfortable cabling, this is kind of nice because it stays on your yarn. It's important that you use a cable needle that matches the size of your needles. So I wouldn't use this on my fine fingering weight yarn that we're actually using for the project. I find something smaller. So you will go into your first stitch and you'll slip it off the cable needle and just let it drop. And that's what's nice about a cable needle. And then you knit the next stitch, and then you can put it back up on your needle. Make sure you've got the right leg in front and knit into that. And that creates a little cross stitch, which will show, there's one below it, but it'll show a little more as we go along. And so it means picking up, putting down, picking up, putting down. The next I'm going to show you are easier ways to do it without a cable needle. This way to do the 1-by-1 left cable is where you manipulate the needles. And it's important that you support your stitches with like your finger or fingernail underneath. I like to put it here. So the stitches got to be to the front. So when you're doing it without a cable needle, front means you go in the back stitch. And so I'm going to go into that back stitch, and then I'm going to slide the needle out of both stitches, okay? So again, you'll see where I've got my thumb supporting that very first stitch so it doesn't run away. Then I bring my needle to the front, pick up that first stitch, and see they're crossing. And then I'm going to put this stitch back on the left needle, and I'm going to knit both of those. And now they are crossed. Here's our previous stitch. See how it's much easier to see how we had that crossed. Okay, let's look at another option. Another way to do the 1-by-1 left twist, left cable, is to, when you encounter your 2 stitches that you're to do the cable, slip it, the first stitch as if to knit, slip the second stitch as if to knit, and then you have to go to the front of them and put your needle in and actually make the turn. Like that. That turns them on the needle. This one you're going to want to, they kind of drift together, so you're going to want to use your fingernail and go in there and grab that so that it makes it easier to see. Okay, here's our first cable with the cable needle. Here's our second cable with just using and holding the stitch. And in a minute, we'll look at how this last cable works. Okay, here's our fourth and final way to do the 1x1 left cable without a cable needle. This is my favorite. It doesn't mean that's right. It's whatever works for you. But when I come to my 2 knit stitches, I go knit into the back of the second stitch, leave it on the needle, and go and knit into the first stitch. And that again transfers that cable to the, creates that little cable to the front. There it is, to the front of the work. So here are our 4 cables. Here's our cable needle. Here's our hold the stitch and move your needles. Here is our slip, slip, knit and bring them back. And then here's our knit through the back loop, leave on the needle, and then knit through the first stitch. I'll complete the row and do a row back so we can see how. All right, here is our completed row of our little cables. Aren't they neat? There's our first cable demonstration, second, third, and fourth. So they really don't look any different. It's a matter of preference. There's a lot of stitches and a lot of little cables across your work. And so the cable needle is going to be the slowest way to do it. This is an opportunity for you to really grow, and these are fun little cables to do. If you're uncomfortable working with it on your project, go ahead and just make a little sample and do some practicing this way. You'll find that our HusKAL yarn, the Woolstok Light, is a single ply, and so it's pretty fuzzy, which makes those stitches stand up. You're not as likely to lose those stitches. So happy creating your fans in the stand.